Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on NTD Television. I'm Steve Lance. The Pentagon and the White House revealing more details about the latest collision between a Russian jet and a U.S. drone. This as Russia vows to recover the drone's wreckage. NTD's Iris Tao brings us more from the White House.
Russia intentionally intercepted a $32 million U.S. drone before hitting it and later forcing it to come down over the Black Sea. That's according to the Pentagon, which on Wednesday said it was still investigating if the collision itself was intentional.
We know that the intercept was intentional. We know that the aggressive behavior was intentional. The physical contact of those two, not sure yet. That remains to be seen.
The State Department on Wednesday blamed the incident on what it called a lack of competence on the Russian side, adding that the actual collision was probably not intended.
I think the best assessment right now is that it probably was unintentional. It probably was the result of profound incompetence on the part of one of these Russian pilots. But
Russia's move still prompts the question.
Is this considered an act of war?
We take any potential for escalation very seriously, and that's why I believe it's important to keep the lines of communication open.
Russia, meanwhile, on Wednesday vowed to recover the debris of the U.S. drone. But the Pentagon insists.
And we did take mitigating measures. So we are quite confident that whatever was of value is no longer of value.
And that's as both the Pentagon and the White House tell us that it could be very hard for anyone, including the U.S., to recover the wreckage. But White House National Security spokesperson adds.
And it's the United States property. We obviously don't want to see anybody getting their hands on it beyond us.
And President Biden, who's returning to the White House from Nevada tonight, has been briefed on the drone incident. Reporting from the White House, Iris Tao, NTD News.
House Republicans holding a hearing to find solutions for the southern border crisis. The only issue with that is that Democrats didn't show up. They accused Republicans of politicizing the event. NTD's Jason Perry has that story.
We're going to shine a light on the truth.
The House Homeland Security Committee held a hearing near the border in Texas called Failure by Design, examining Secretary Mayorkas's border crisis. A GOP spokesperson told Fox News that Democrats said they were going to attend. They booked their flights and even called a witness to testify. But in a statement to the Washington Examiner just days before the hearing started, Representative Benny Thompson said committee Democrats decided not to participate. According to Thompson, instead of a fact-finding mission to develop better border security and immigration policies, Republicans are traveling to the border to attack the administration and try to score political points with their extreme rhetoric, despite having voted against the resources border personnel need. And 5 chairs were left empty during the hearing. But Republicans continued on, questioning the chief of the U.S. Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz. Representative Dan Bishop asked the chief to admit that the Biden administration's policies are causing the border crisis.
Sir, will you be candid enough to be unequivocal and clear that that has driven the change?
And I still hold true that we have some policies in place where we need to ensure that the men and women out there patrolling the border, investigating these criminal cartels, are actually allowed to do their job each and every day.
And Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said it appears the cartels have taken things to another level.
Chief Ortiz, are you aware that there was an explosive device found by Border Patrol agents on January 17th in an area called No Man's Land?
I received a confidential skiff, so I'm going to be a little hesitant of briefing what I know and what I don't know with respect to some of those, an event like that.
I understand, Chief Ortiz, but I'm not going to be confidential because I think people deserve to know. Our Border Patrol agents should not be in those type of conditions where they are at risk of being blown to pieces by the cartels.
And she explained that fentanyl is the #1 cause of death for people between the ages of 18 and 45.
No, it doesn't matter about Republican, Democrat, or who cares. It's everybody's home. And what I would like to see done is a real frank conversation about what to do to fix this problem.
You can watch the full hearing at the House Homeland Security Committee's YouTube page. Jason Perry, NTD News.
And joining us next, Roy Boyd, Sheriff of Goliad County, Texas. He'll give us an inside look into the chaos unfolding at the southern border near El Paso. Sheriff Roy Boyd, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Sheriff, if you could you kind of paint the picture and tell us what the current situation at that border bridge linking Mexico to the U.S. and El Paso, based on what you've heard, and what should we know about the actual standoff, what led to it, and what can be learned from it?
Well, the problem is there's a lot of chatter out there, and you never know what is actually true, especially when it comes from the government. And so the rumor was that there was information that was put out that was false that caused these people to come to the border en masse and demand to be let into El Paso. Unfortunately, we don't know what the total truth is on this. All that we know is these folks have showed up at the border, and this is a direct result of the Biden administration's policies that have encouraged these folks to come from all over the world and believe that they're going to come to America for a free ride and get into this country free and clear. This is something that is by design, and is something that the Biden administration has put together. And ever since they've come into office, it is something that we've been facing in South Texas on a daily basis.
Sheriff, another hearing on the southern border today by the House Homeland Security Committee. Democrats actually boycotting it after maybe appearing that they may go. Why is that, and how important is it to actually hear and see what's happening firsthand?
Well, first off, I think it's very important to see what's happening firsthand, because I don't believe that much of America quite grasps what's going on at the border. I don't think they understand how volatile it is down there and just the volume of people that are coming through. With Border Patrol catching about 50,000 people a week in Texas, in the Texas sectors, there's a lot of folks that are coming across that border. Not all of those individuals are good and decent human beings. Some are, but a lot of them are not. And I think it's important for legislators to go down there and see firsthand, and not just in canned events where they go down to Anzaldúa Park and get their picture taken so they can tell their constituents they were there. They need to actually go out and spend some time with those border sheriffs, and they need to go out and see the reality of what's going on the streets in their communities.
Sheriff, what do you think can be done to prevent future surges like the one that we just saw of illegal immigrants coming to the Texas border? And what long-term solutions are out there being proposed, or that you think will actually address this border crisis?
Well, from the federal government, I've heard nothing that's going to change this, because this is what they want, and this is all by design. I think that the only way that you can really stop this is to stop it in Mexico. Once people get to that river, it's impossible to stop them, because the cartel controls the river and uses various means to get them across. I think that in order to stop this, we're going to have to put economic pressure on Mexico to force them to stop it. Because if not, we find ourselves in the situation we're in now, where Governor Greg Abbott and the Texas legislature have had to step up in the place of the federal government and try to enact policies and practices to help get it under control. But as much as we try to get it under control, all we're really doing is mitigating the problem. We're not actually solving it. That has to be solved in Mexico, and that can only be done by creating enough economic pain for the Mexican government to do the loss of legitimate revenue to outweigh their gain of illegitimate revenue from their partnerships with the cartel.
Texas Sheriff Roy Boyd, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Alien life could apparently visit our solar system. The Pentagon publishing a draft report describing their theories on how that might happen.
The Pentagon published a report this month suggesting aliens could send small material elements into our solar system. This report from the Pentagon says extraterrestrial equipment could arrive on Earth in two forms: as trash or as functional equipment. An artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth, an operational construct not too dissimilar from NASA missions. The report also says astronomers wouldn't be able to notice the spray of mini-probes. That's because they wouldn't reflect enough sunlight for existing survey telescopes to notice them. It says the probes would use the tidal gravitational force of the sun, or by a maneuvering capability. The paper refers to an object called Oumuamua that passed by Earth in 2017 as exhibiting similar phenomena. Oumuamua was from outside of the solar system and didn't behave like a normal comet. The leading hypothesis about Oumuamua is that it was a chunk of frozen nitrogen that broke off of a distant planet and was propelled outside of its own solar system. This comes after the U.S. last month downed 3 unidentified objects over North American airspace.
There is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity. With these recent takedowns, again, there is no indication of aliens or terrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
According to the Pentagon report, researchers don't know if there are any functioning alien probes near Earth at this time. Reporting by Ariane Pastar, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.